There's also folks saying that Bobby attempted to vacate the Gbag title. He said bleep Gbag and the fake award because he wasn't a real 5-time Gbag of the Day champion. And that's fine if he doesn't want the trophy, but history will state from our perspectives, he is your 2025 Gbag of the Year, and congratulations to him for that.
Congrats, Bobby. Well deserved.
Happy for you, Bob.
That was voted on by the Tolos, so he's basically turning his back on the Tolos, right?
There's an element of that,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
There's been some regrettable things he's done,
and
that moves into his top 5. Okay, Tommy Yarsh just posted DaRon Bland had successful surgery on his foot, so that is good news. I think the hope is that foot injury slowed him down or prevented him from bouncing back to where he could. He hit incredible highs, incredible lows, and you're like, okay, maybe he's never going to get back to 11 interceptions. Was that what it was, or was it 6 pick sixes? Like
it was the pick sixes. The 11 picks is what Diggs had.
Okay, so yeah, out of all the Cowboys who will be back that had disappointing seasons, that guy's got to be top of the list. If you could pick any Cowboy that had a disappointing 2025 to get back to where he was 2026, I'll take DaRon Bland, and I'll keep my fingers crossed that's still possible. But if not, contract structured in a way that next year would be DaRon Bland's final season with the Cowboys if he doesn't ball out.
Which is good. I mean, that just in case, just to give you that wiggle room, much like they were able to move off of Diggs. But yeah, I guess anytime you're talking about a foot issue, and Jerry alluded to this, I'm not a doctor, but I don't like that at all. I don't like the sound of that. You have to watch feet relative to the future. I'm with you 100% though. Given that Bland is under contract and there's so much uncertainty now with that corner spot, if I could pick anybody on the roster to get back to form, I think you nailed it with DaRon Bland.
Okay, then you know how I feel about edge, and middle linebacker is a big need as well. But what are we doing at 12 relative to corner? If you assume one of those teams in the top 11 is going to want a corner, I haven't studied the team needs yet, but it would be a surprise if all 3 of the first round corners so far would make it to 12. I imagine Delane will be gone because he's healthy and he's full size.
I think Delane will be the first one off. Yeah.
Do you think you'll get your pick of McCoy and Terrell? And do you think the Cowboys will even consider Terrell, considering he's a shorter guy?
I think they will consider him because of, and we've talked about this before, his versatility, his ability to play on the outside, to play on the inside. Jerry talked about how they didn't replace Jordan Lewis, so you might want to think about a guy that can go inside and play that way. Man, that would be, because I think we talked about this yesterday, if I'm right, of what position we think could maybe stretch. We're on so many platforms now, but what position do you feel like that at 20 you could get? I mean,
is going to get to you?
Trust me, I'd love to have McCoy, and I think he'll probably be there when you pick at 20.
Okay.
Because I do think he's going to get a clean bill of health. I think he's going to work out.
Yeah, it's just an ACL.
I think everything's going to be about it. It's not going to be a bunch of questions about him when we get to, he's probably going to work out in April. You'll see what's the speed, how's he moving around. You'll get the medical report. But I just have a feeling that people they'll look at, if someone goes early, I think it's going to be Delane. But I might wait this thing out to 20 to see who's there. And you mentioned Terrell because he's a 180-pound guy. But gosh, we were wrong about his brother.
Yeah.
We kind of threw tag on his brother about, he can't do this, can't do that. This guy might be better than his brother.
Elsewhere on the C note, Donovan Esaku arrested for reckless driving, detained for a short period, released on $500 bond. I think this would be, like Lucius talks about how tough it is to have a son, this would be the most terrifying thing about having a son in the NFL who's young and is going to get a fast car. And how do you not rip that thing up the toll road just a little bit, just a little weave in and out of traffic? Next thing you know, you're pulled over for reckless driving. That's what I assume what was happening. Maybe doing 110, 120, something like that.
If I'm going to reckless drive, I'm going to do it on the George Bush.
Yeah.
It's a lot more space. I think if I lost control of it, I could. You start doing things on the tollway, that gets a little crazy, a little narrow.
Well, I tell you what, on Bush, there's a couple of zones where they got like these rolling hills that almost feel like you're bouncing, especially if you're in a bigger truck.
I just feel like that and the The Rayburn with the
Sam Rayburn,
yeah,
yes.
that's another
Sam
one.
Rayburn,
Windy.
yes.
Got a little bit more.
Like in that stretch from about Toll to 75.
Sure.
There's not a lot of people there,
No.
unless you're in peak hours.
Yeah.
I could do that. I'm not too concerned, I think, obviously, if you're the parent, you're like, dude, let's not be reckless driving. I can't afford to,
Somewhere
be having
Sam
to-
Williams is laughing at him right now.
having to visit you in the hospital somewhere, but not a big deal. I'd be willing to put up with quite a bit more of that if he could go get the quarterback about 10, 12 times next year.
Nice.
I think that's the most important thing. I'm just kind of shocked it was Esaku, because on the spectrum of players that you would anticipate could be reckless, impulsive driving guy, it seems like Esaku's like academic in his approach.
10 and 2.
Yeah, he seems like the 4.0 GPA
Yeah,
guy.
I mean, it definitely seemed like an out-of-character type of decision, but I think we've all gone a little too fast at times. I don't know how fast he was going, but I'll admit it, I've got a bit of a heavy foot. Not surprised.
Not an upset. Everybody was calling out his weight that was listed too.
Was that 110 pounds? What did it say?
220.
220.
But I'm wondering, is that just from the driver's license? Like they just take what's on your?
I think
does
that's
your
what-
driver's
yeah.
license have that on
I
there?
can see that.
Or because I'm like, there's no way he stepped on a scale and currently weighs 220
No.
pounds as an NFL edge rusher.
They don't weigh you when you go to jail.
They don't.
No.
Do you know from experience?
Well,
Yeah, I've been to
Broadus
jail
knows.
a couple of times. They never weighed me.
Yeah, I guess.
They're the authority
do
on
they,
this.
Do they just
Yeah.
take your word for it? Like,
No, you
Whatever's
hand him
on your license?
you hand
well,
him-
because
you hand him
but like a Texas license, like mine only has the height,
I think he's probably got a Massachusetts one.
so maybe they put the weight on there.
Where you just say,
Sure.
I'm 220.
Yeah.
Boston ladies don't care.
No.
You put their weight on there.
Yeah, they're happy to have those.
Everybody knows the Dunkin' Donuts right around the corner. Everybody gets it.
Those,
it's
A17 says-
Patriot jerseys, big.
817 says you want to rip down the 635 toll underneath. That's
That's how I get.
that's
That's how I get
right
here.
there. Yeah.
That's how I get here.
Yeah, you can go flying.
spot.
I have seen a couple of speed
Yeah.
traps down there, which I thought was unfair.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh
if-
no, I
if
told
I'm paying for this
Wolchuk
and
about that one, right?
There's nobody within 100 yards. I want to have the right to gun that thing if I want to. We'll go 75 to 35.
$4 of getting here in a hurry.
No doubt about it. Now, I personally was a maniac when I was a kid behind the wheel. We did this thing. It was a surfing term called shooting the curl. You know, when they get in there and the wave comes over the top
Yeah.
of them and they're in that little
You sit
tunnel.
down in that little pocket.
That's what we called like the gap between the back fender of one vehicle and one fender in the front of it, and you could see kind of how you could just kind of slide through there. It's not you're not really changing lanes as much as you're diagonally shooting that curl,
Right.
And it was I think I'd come off a summer where I was in Southern California, like trying to learn how to boogie board, and I failed miserably. Ate a lot of sand that summer. But I brought that term back with me and applied it to driving. So we'd be driving like Portland to Seattle and back and forth, just a complete idiot. And I had a Datsun 510 wagon. I had a Ford Escort GT 88, blew through that thing in like 6 months. Clutch and brakes just burned up the engine. I think I ultimately cracked the block. And then I just beaters, right? Then I had like an 86 Honda Accord there for a while, but we'd get the most out of it. And I'd be lying if I told you I should be here. There were some really, really questionable decisions being made out there on the highway. And that was with beater cars. Yeah. You put me in one of these, what are they driving these days? Porsches, 911, Ferraris, these players, they get these high powered
Charger,
vehicles.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you want to see what it can do. I'm not crazy. Maybe I am crazy for weaving in and out of traffic like that. I should have done it.
But you want to see, hey, what do I got? You got a Hemi?
take them out to Texas Motor Speedway.
Absolutely. There you go.
Do a couple of laps out there, get you an instructor. You want to do it the responsible way. Mailbag question on DallasCowboys.com. Let me swing through there and ask you guys a great question. They had, maybe we should have left more time for this one. But anyway, how many years are left in Dak Prescott's prime?
3.
Okay.
Maybe 7.
I could see that. He's coming up on 33. He's going to be 36. He's coming up on 34. Yeah, he'd be 36.
Is he?
In 3 years from now.
I'm going to say 3.
Yeah, I'll stick with 3.
Would you guys have any appetite for a take that maybe he's already past his prime?
Absolutely not. I don't have the appetite for it. He just played his best
So
football,
you're saying
right?
that maybe at 12 you look at one of these quarterbacks?
Do you think he is?
I do. I do think he's past his prime, but still he might be playing his best football. Like, he can't run like he did. That injury took something off of him. I think I think his mind is definitely in its prime, and that's not going to trend the other way. But I think if you took away the weapons and protection from Dak Prescott, he could still really, really struggle in a way that maybe a quote unquote prime quarterback would not, because he can mitigate pressure with his legs and everything. I don't know if he's given you that. Now obviously he's not where Aaron Rodgers is at that point in his career. And last night, if you only watch that game from a Steelers perspective of the entire year, that was maybe the most mobile he looked all season long, but still not capable of extending plays and, making the magic that he punished the Cowboys with so early in his career. But I would say, look, Joe Flacco was cooking with the Bengals. And he's, 41? Dak Prescott will be able to do that as long as you protect him. I think he could have 8 years left playing at the level that he just saw, even though I do think he's a little past his prime.
Yeah, I mean, I think the mental side of it, absolutely. Like, we even saw that with Romo. Like, Romo was at his best when it comes to just, understanding of what defenses want to do, just being in total command. At the end there, unfortunately, his body physically gave out on him. And I was wondering if Dak was kind of going in the same path, but fortunately this year he played all 17 games, and he definitely moved around the best since the injury happened. So I don't, to your point, he's never going to get that back to what he had in those days in Mississippi State where he was just running around and was an absolute badass dual threat quarterback. But physically, he probably is in the best shape that we've seen him in since that injury, which has me very optimistic that maybe he has a chance to extend this thing even past the 3-year window. But I think 3 years would be safe, and I'd love it if the Cowboys operated it like, okay, we got this period. Now's the time to go cash in and capitalize on it. Because even seeing all the cap hell stuff the Eagles supposedly are going to be in with all the void years. One, I'll believe it when I see it. I heard the same thing again with the Carson Wentz deal. They got out of that, made 2 Super Bowls, won 1. And you know what? It's still worth it. They got a Lombardi trophy. I'd love to be in salary cap hell in 2035 because the Cowboys ended up going and winning a championship.